they're finally here. The power rankings or whatever you call the thing where I go through the teams and just kind of say, oh yeah, here's the good things about the team, and here may be some weaknesses. It's not very timely at all, so sorry about that. If any of my advice seems helpful, you won't be able to act on it in the grace period. But you can still do normal trades. You get like 6 of those. That's a whole lot. There's only like 5 games the whole season anyway, so I mean, it should be enough to fix whatever you don't like. But maybe your team's great. Who knows? Why don't you listen and find out? Let's get right into it. Ramon of Fast of Fuck, good team name. He lives up to the hype, I'd say a little bit. You see Dragapult, right? One of the fastest, best Pokemon there really is to draft, followed by Salazzle, who's pretty fast, and then Ogerpon at 110, and Liepard 105. Um, Drops off a bit from there, but the point is plenty of speed. Very good team. Because Dragapult's really good, and I think Corviknight's really good, and Ogerpon leave the wall. Most of all the Ogerpon forms are very good, but the water one's also quite good. Uh, yeah, this is just like a very balanced, I'd say, traditional team. You have everything you need here, really, especially considering we're National Dex moves. That's I should clarify for these rankings and for this season. So, Florida just access to Defog. Things have access to their full move sets. And yeah, I don't see any big problems with this one. This looks like a really good team, and it's definitely one of my favorites in the gold division. If I had to make up something, some sort of problem, let's see, what's our ground type? Is there a ground type? Oh, that is kind of a fucking problem. Never mind. Not a big. I mean, not a big, it's a really good team regardless. But I guess I only now just noticed looking at it. I think ground is one of the most important types to have, just because electric immunity is a really big deal, and it also brings really valuable resistances to like rock is a big one. Um, but yeah, electric immunity is the big one as well, and just really good coverage. Yeah, so no ground type here is really interesting. I think this team covers it pretty well because it's not terribly weak to electric. You've got 2 dragon types, Vikavolt, who can certainly resist electric all right. So there's plenty of electric resistance. Rock resistance, not so much, but Duraludon, I mean, it's a physically defensive steel type, so there's at least one. Yeah. So overall, solid team. No ground type is my criticism, but let's see. I think Ramon can prove that's not really the big deal. I think it is. Next up, we have Gabe, the Texas Terror, aptly named. Right off the bat, we see 2 horrifyingly broken Pokemon, in my opinion. I mean, okay, Samurot's not broken, but Annihilate is broken. I don't know why people allow this thing for draft. Terror or no Terror, Rage Punch sets are just really stupid. And just like it's not even like you need to do bulk up to get insane power with this thing, right? You just if you eat like 1 or 2 U turns, you already get 150 fucking power stab for taking basically no damage. And so those kind of tricks are really easy to do with Annihilate just to get free Rage Punch gimmicks up. And if Gabe's good at utilizing those, then that will be free wins for him, as has always been the case with Annihilate in my experience. As for the rest of the team, Samurai Hisui, right, laying down those spikes, very good for free. Just really a lot of hazard pressure and damage pressure at the same time. A good defense, decent defensive backbone. You've got things like Chestnut and Venusaur Mega, but nothing too comprehensive defensively. That being said, I think it makes sense considering what the team's going for with offensive juggernauts like Annihilate, Samurai Sui, to a lesser extent Porygon Z. You can really fire off attacks. Dugtrio is a great trapper here because I think it can, whatever specific things, those weird Pokemon that aren't too common that can really deal well, something like Samurai Sui, Ceaseless Edge, or Annihilate's Rage Punch, Dugtrio can trap them or get rid of them or make their lives harder. So yeah, overall solid team. I like it. Leans into the offense angle that Gen 9 has really encouraged. So nice job from Gabe. Next up, we have Johnny. Johnny built himself a really solid team, not really a weak link on it, all decent Pokemon. Um, Zeraora is a Pokemon I like a lot, similar to Dragapult, kind of very high speed. You lose the pivoting and some of the versatility, but still a very fast offensive Pokemon that works well. Darkrai is interesting in draft. I would say that banned with its sleep-inducing moves, but still very fast, still very strong. I with Mono Dark isn't the best offensive type. Like it's solid, but you think about things like Zoroark and Mightyena and like I don't know. Absol, like a lot of them aren't very strong or popular, but Darkrai's obviously stats can easily set it apart. So I'll be curious to see how that goes. Gliscor is a great defensive backbone. Same goes to Primarina and Zarude, and those are Pokemon that can also hit pretty hard. So just a great mix of offense and defense here. Perhaps one of the most solid drafts of the whole board, if not the most solid. I'm excited to see how it does. In terms of major weaknesses, if anything, I forgot that's a recurring segment I do. Oh, a fairy weakness? Yeah, I guess. No, it's not really that very weak, but Orthworm doesn't have any good special defense, and Delphox isn't really a defensive Pokemon, so that could be a concern. That being said, I don't know what fairies are really that big of a concern on the board. Looking at it right now, I mean, I'm looking at Gold Division. I don't see an Iron Valiant or anything. So I think that will probably be fine. I just need to make up a random bullshit problem, to be honest. All right. Next up, we have Declan. Declan's running weird Declan stuff. He just changed his team, so I'm not gonna say much about it because it's not updated here. But he's running fucking I don't know what he put on there. I should just update the thing right now, but it really interrupts the flow of the video. Anyway, the point is there's like a Torkoal on there or something now. He's doing like a sun thing. He's got like Slitherwing, Sandy Shocks are still on there with Torkoal. That's fun, sun. Yeah, Licky should just weird Declan stuff. What am I gonna say? I don't know. He just runs weird stuff. But it looks decent. Sun, I think he's getting Chiyu on there, so there you go. Just Sun spam. He'll do something way worth it. Probably run it with fucking Rain or whatever. All right, next up we have Pratham. Pratham's team looks pretty good. Speaking of weather, it's sand stuff. I love Excadrill Tyranitar Sand, call me a boomer, but it works and I like it. So, and complementing it with things like Drakazol, another good sand rusher. Something like Jelly Sandwich covers sand Pokemon's weaknesses immaculately. To things like water and fighting. Urshifu Rapid is just another good water type that synergizes well with those sand Pokemon and is always kind of just a menace to face in draft for its versatility. Yeah, I like it a lot. Down the line, I think the Pokemon are a little more niche. Things like Farigiraf, Houndstone, Crocodile that have more like specific uses. But if you can, I mean, Farigiraf with its grass immunity, right? Crocodile is a fire type and a wear user. These are things that can synergize with Sand. I think Pratham really prioritized covering Sand's defensive weaknesses, and that is always a wise move when you're building a weather team to try and cover those weak spots. In terms of weaknesses, I suppose you are relying a lot on the lower tiers for any sort of defensive backbone, right? All the higher tiers here are dedicated to offensive picks. I think that's fine, but it'll also mean that Pratham will be a lot stronger going for the hardcore offensive mode, and if he goes in the defensive mode, he might be playing at a bit of a disadvantage. Oh yeah, I didn't really mention much about Shaman Scat, but that's also really good. Obviously offensive, higher tier Pokemon. We haven't made Air Slash, but Seed Flare is still really good. If you don't have a grass immunity, that's a real problem because Seed Flare has an 80% chance to cut your special defense, and then a coverage move, even if it's neutral, will do quite a bit. Um, Very hard to deal with. I think that's why in my game with Pratham, I just tried to Terraflying Garganacl right away because I was like, I don't have anything for this, anything really defensive. All right, and there's my team. It's the best team around. Surely it's not just a bunch of Pokemon I thought looked good, and I wanted to try like Shell Smash Mega Blastoise. Yeah, so that's the best team or the worst, depending. All right, moving on. We've got Aiden and Ken, the Dream Team, the Power Pair, the dynamic Five Nights at Frostmoth. All right. Ursaluna Blood Moon. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't keep up with Pokemon the way. I mean, I played the DLC. I caught this guy. He's cool, but I don't really know what he. I mean, he seems really strong. Like they banned him to Ubers and stuff, but it's just like he's just like Ursaluna with special attack and a really good spammable. I mean, it's not spammable, but 140 base power move and fuck it, he uses Moonlight and Kami and stuff. I guess it's just that he's really bulky and really strong, and like Ursaluna, the regular one, it can like heal itself. I think maybe is what makes. I don't know. The point is, it's really good. I put it in the tier. It's strong. It's a good backbone for this team. Rillaboom Sneasler is a classic combo. I mean, it's not classic; it's really new, but like it's quickly emerged as a classic combo. I think just for the ability to weaken Sneasler's ground weakness while also giving it proccing on burden if you wish. Vaporeon is a really good Pokemon. Cineros, solid backbone. Klefki, I really think is underrated for draft between being able to do screens and hazard stuff really well with that great typing. Espeon, Frostmoth. Just a lot of classic draft picks from the higher tiers and lower tiers, I think. I mean, maybe less so Altaria and Stunfisk, but I think Stunfisk is pretty good. Altaria can probably do something. So this is a really good team. Very solid from two experienced drafters. I don't think I have much criticism for it. Can I make something up? I don't think Ursulina doesn't get Stealth Rocks. I guess so. I guess my criticism would be Stunfisk is your only rocker, which is kind of bad, but rocks aren't as important as they used to be, and you have good spiker with Klefki, so at least that's good. Yeah, so get more stealth rocks. That's my seven point. What's the meme? I don't know. Anyway, IGN something. Very good team. Next up, we have Ronald. Ronald doing the same shit he always does with regen and fucking Hydreigon. Finny's there, as it sometimes. I think Hippodon is a frequent guest star on Ron's teams. It's just that good Ron stuff. I've come to love it. Ron, I'm glad Ron has come into this style because I miss having Alfie, and Alfie would basically always run these the hyper offensive teams. It'd be nice to know somebody's kind of always doing the same thing, and now Ron's out here doing that, and that may sound like a backhanded insult, but it's not. I appreciate it. I like the consistency. I like the style. It I don't know. It's like it contributes character. It adds a flavor to the league. Anyway, as for the actual team, it's pretty good. I like Belly Bolt a fucking lot, man. Get like the lower tier Pokemon like Dipplin, Kamala, Berserker. Those are Pokemon that are like decent. I don't know what they're doing really, or like when you're gonna bring them over your higher tier picks, but I'd really be. That's what I'm kind of excited to see from this team is what it can do with those lower tier picks. If there are any notable weaknesses, nah, flying is covered with Billy Bolt and Berserker. Ghost type, Hydreigon will hit it up. Yeah, pretty good defensively, pretty good offense. It's just very good balance. What can be said about it that hasn't been said. Ron's drafted this team like a whole bunch of times. Teams like this. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna make up a complaint. I like this kind of team. I guess it's a little what'd you call it? Top heavy, but that's fine. That's kind of traditional, normal for drafts, especially in this league. All right, where I force people to take like two really bad Pokemon. Next up we have Eduardo. Eduardo's got a really good. Eduardo. I don't really know how good you are at Pokemon. I mean, you're new, so I haven't seen you before, so I was just hoping you're bad at the game. But looking at your team, you might be very good at the game because I mean, not to say that I was like bad at the game, but I thought you might be less experienced. But this is the team of somebody who has a lot of Pokemon or even draft specifically experience because there's really like I've been telling some of these teams like top heavy. This team is not top heavy at all. From the bottom tiers to the low tiers, it's all Pokemon that fit in well and can do something that the team really wants to have going on. It's a scary team, especially with free Terra on Regieleki. Uh, Making that like all those even those low like all not just for Geolecki but things like Thwacky and Knuckle Stack like those low tier decent Pokemon become even more decent when you can Terra them as you like. We have Terra previous, it's not a complete surprise. But yeah, that's all. This is just a really this team can like compete with most of the teams in Gold Division. Like I'm kind of scared. I'm sorry, Silver players, about this one. That may be my bad. We will see. Next up, we have Kevin. Kevin's got a pretty interesting team. Obviously, leans very offensive. These are mainly Pokemon that just attack or like maybe do some status. These stuff like Tinkaton can do some status. Zatu certainly. But that's kind of it. I mean, Great Tusk spins right and sets rocks, but like these Pokemon are about dealing damage all the time. As critical as I usually am of that kind of team, just for its ability to kind of like fold like paper because there's no real defensive options to fall back on. I think there's a good mix of speed tiers here, right? You're spanning Raikou 115, like Verzion 1 and 108, like Monkey Dory 106, whatever it is, like a lot of Blacephalon's like 107 or whatever, I don't remember. Point is a lot of different speeds represented. So it shouldn't be too hard. You put the Scarfers in the right place. I think it'll be able to stay on top in the offense game, especially with Zatu and Raikou both being pretty solid screeners, so you can get screens up and start setting up that way. I think it's a decent team, very solid team. One of these teams that's like high risk, high reward with how offensive it is, but I think it can work. I think Kevin did a good job balancing everything. Um, Great Tusk is certainly a little overburdened from the removal, but no, actually no, Zatu and Sylvia can do defog, so I guess yeah, you're fine. Honestly, there it's all team. Tony. More weather. Holy shit! I realized we have like fucking sun, sand, and now hail or snow, as it's called. I'm getting old. Um, Yeah, Ninetales Alola, it's a Titan classic combo. Obama Mega in that low tier spot getting picked up, which I'm glad about because nobody takes fucking Mega Obama Snow ever, which is why I put it there. We'll see if Snow buffs him up to where he needs to be. So obviously all the ice staples there, right? Excalibur. Decent support that is Slowking Galar. I mean, Slowking Galar is always the best of the slow line, but a Hail team is actually kind of the one time I'd probably look more towards a regular Slowbro or regular Slowking over it because the water resistances to things like steel and fire are kind of what I'd want. But obviously, Slowking Galar is still really good here. Hatterene's solid magic bouncer, a bit of a trick room build, which makes sense, I suppose. I mean, things like Mega Bomb of Snow, Iron Hands, right? Delmize these slow attackers. Yeah, it leans very hard in the hail. A lot of ice types, which is biggest burden now that snow actually the new hail weather like buffs defenses for buffs physical defense for ice types, and like you can Terra any of these except for Mega Bomb Snow, so like the matchup flips good. But it is, ice is just a very one-dimensional type, very offensive, no real resist aside from ice, so it's just kind of risky in that sense. But the defensive backbone's kind of here. You've had fat things like Slowking, Galarian, and Iron Hands, but I do think the defensive types, with so many ice types being representative, are a little being represented are a little lacking. So I think you can kind of just choice specs or ban a lot of Pokemon against this team and do fine. Um, but that's just offensively speaking, right? This team's going to hit back hard, especially with something like doubled speed like Zetitan or Excalibur or Dragon Dance, and which can be backed from Ninetales' screens. So overall solid team, a little one-dimensional, but certainly good snow building overall. Next up, we have Graylin. Graylin did a really solid job building this one, I would say. Scissor Mega is probably top 3 megas. Clodsire is really good, in my opinion. Some leagues put it lower, but I think you have to tier it higher because it's actually really strong between Unaware and Water Absorb and all its defensive utility. Thundersturion is solid. Probably not a third pick kind of Pokemon, but that's just more testament to power creeps than Thunderous Theory being bad. It's still a very strong Pokemon with insanely high special attack, Volt Absorb. Sinistras Pokemon I like a lot. Yeah, this team just got that good mix of defense and offense that is always heartening to see. A little on the slow side, but things like Talonflame, Scream Tail alleviate that. Plus, Arctazalt if it can get Snow up going, and Scissor Mega with its priority spam. You're going to be fine overall. Um, the lower tiers are solid Pokemon like Pangoro, Drampa, Karakosta, Flapple. None of those are like great draft Pokemon. Like they're not very versatile, but they do what they do very well. Each of them, except for Flapple. Actually, I guess Flapple kind of sucks, but I like him, so screw it. Points for Flapple. Yeah, I think Grayling built a solid team. It's one of those teams where it's not like I'm not entirely sure how it'll end up working out. But I can see the kind of the synergies. You've got everything you need here. Like this is the team. If you put it in the hands of like if I had this team, I wouldn't be upset. Like I'd be like, I'm pretty sure this is a workable team. And I think Grayland, especially since they know what their strategy is, I think she can do pretty well with it. So that will be remain to be seen. All right, next up we have Hannah. Hannah drafted them genies, but didn't draft the pink one, which I don't care. No meme points. You got to go all the way, or I don't care. So I'm going to treat this as a serious team and roast accordingly. The monkeys from Unova. Oh, all the Pokemon are from Unova, right? I forgot. Oh, it wasn't just the genies, the monkeys. Yes, that's the whole thing. Well, that's cool. Good job, Hannah. I probably noticed that earlier and just forgot. But the team's actually pretty good in all seriousness. I mean, what was the genies? The beautiful thing about the genies, right, is that flying's a pretty good type. So you're not actually stacking that many weaknesses with them. Um, the only real weakness you're stacking with all three of them is ice. So there's a big ice weakness on this team. Seismitoad being part ground really doesn't help. It's as the main water type. Obviously, Simipour is also there, but Simipour has never been much for defense. But thankfully, Scrafty and Audino have a lot of special defense. Most ice types are especially offensive. And even Calfagri has a lot of physical defense for physically offensive problems. So even though the team is like lacking in defensive type matchups, I'd say really high, sky high defense stats from things like Audino and Scrafty can help out. It's a pretty decent team, honestly. Even despite the Unova meme. Yeah, solid memes. Maheen. What's Maheen got? Maheen's got Wall Breakers out the ass, Salamence, Hoopa Unbound, Blaziken, Crawdon, Vanillux. Holy fucking shit. Nobody can stand up to this team for more than 5 seconds defensively. Now, this team's obviously not much to look at defensively itself. Salamence can kind of be a defensive Pokemon. I mean, Toedscroll's kind of defensive. Vanilla can do a roar veil, but yeah, this is very much just hyper offense wall break type stuff. The speed tiers also lean a little slow for what it is. I think it's probably might be Maheen's greatest weakness overall with this team. But at least you've got Ambipom with a lot of speed. Rapidash, Toad Scroll, or no, it's a lot. Toad Scroll just 100. Rapidash can be kind of fast if you really need it. Blaziken and speed boost obviously helps a lot, right? Automatic speed gain. But yeah, a lot of these Pokemon are going to need to come scarfed or making sure they're running speed boosting sets a lot of weeks just to make sure they can move first. But very powerful team, very strong. We're certainly able to use the Terra freely for extra stabs, I mainly imagine, but also for coverage. Yeah, glass cannon type team. If Maheen can play it well, then it will surely kill Pokemon. All right, finally we have Ethan. Is Ethan running a rain team? Holy shit. Ethan's running a rain team. We've got all the different weathers here. Let's fucking go. As far as weather goes, this has Palafin on it, so that's always strong. Kilowatt Rel and Overquill, I think, are new rain staples that have come out really strongly. Kilowatt Rel with its electric community and Stab Hurricanes just loves being around rain. Overquill just messes with grass types really hard. As I mean, in addition to a great defensive profile overall, as a dark poison that can use Intimidate, but also has Swift Swim and Water moves, so it can really work well as a Rain Sweeper. Cavolian's a classic Rain Pokemon. Walking Wake is interesting. Um, I know Swift Swim makes me think I'd rather have a Kingdra, honestly, but a Walking Wake, unlike Kingdra, is a lot stronger, can use booster energy stuff outside of Rain. A little more versatile, certainly, than Kingdra, even though it's lacking some of the tools that make Kingdra so good. But yeah, it's still a good choice in this team. Still very good water rain attacker. Floatzel's fantastic, low tier value rain attacker. I love the double bear synergy. Not double bear synergy. I guess that's not really a synergy with having double bears, but I just love double bears. Beartic and Ursa Ring showing up both decent Pokemon. Beartic for its um, rain sweeping potential. Maybe even surprise snow sweeping potential, and Ursa Rings being a bulky normal type. This I guess this team it just has the usual defensive drawbacks that a really offensive rain team might have, but I don't. I mean, because you're kind of weak to electric, but Nano Queen can just soak that shit up for days. But then if you run into something like Raikou, which is Thunderbolt and Scald, it's like, oh, okay, so like electric water moves. No defensive dragon type kind of hurts, like something like Gudra or Garchomp can be nice on a rain team just to help with some of those woes. But Walking Wake I think works fine on that role just for bringing in more offense to punch holes in the opposition. Yeah, so that's the team ranking. Sorry if I kind of ran through it quickly. I wanted to get this done briskly just because it's already been so long, so I wanted to get it out. But yeah, what'd you think? I don't know. Use the Discord channel. We got it. If I said something wrong or stupid or I missed something or I don't fucking know, feel free to. Oh no, I'm dying. Uh, yeah, harass me in the Discord channel. And yeah, all right. Enjoy your games, guys. See you throughout the rest of the draft.